Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Spice Connection. And my guest today is Jane Milton. She's a tea sommelier based in London. Welcome, Jane. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Good day for iced tea today.
I know it's so hot. Honestly, I feel really hot in my kitchen. I feel like I'm in Jakarta actually. We have a really tropical weather today.
And we're not built for it here. We don't have all the aircon and things that you would have anywhere else. So it always just gets a bit hot
Exactly.
and sticky.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, for those who don't know Jane, actually Jane has many different roles, not only a tea sommelier, but also a business consultant and a food trading consultant. So Jane, please tell us more. Which one came first and why?
At a very, very young age, probably about the age of 10, I knew that I wanted to do something food related. And I
Mm-hmm.
had I loved cooking, so I knew I wanted to do something that way more than science based. And a family friend said maybe you should train and be a school cookery teacher. And I was at a very academic school where the fact that I wanted to do cookery for a career went down like a lead balloon. They were not impressed at all. But fortunately, my parents backed me and I did a food degree. My school cookery teacher made me promise never to be a school cookery teacher because she
Mm-hmm.
said by the time I qualified, that role wouldn't exist anymore. And she was right. In the UK, they stopped teaching cookery in schools around the time that I would have qualified. So I came out and I came into the food industry, and I've been in the food industry now for 33, 34 years, and I've never regretted my decision to do that. So
Right. Right. But what sparked you to be a tea sommelier?
so on the tea side, about 7 years ago, I was introduced to Dilma, the tea company, who are based in Sri Lanka,
Mm-hmm.
who make single estate teas in Sri Lanka, hand pick and do a very good job on tea, and also are very ethical and have put a lot back into their community and that sort of thing as well. So I was introduced to them. I did a thing that they do called the School of Tea, where I learned about tea and a little bit about food pairing and things. And then I began
Mm-hmm.
to use that in my work. But then I wished that all my knowledge was from one company. And that was great because they had taught me a lot of general stuff about other countries that tea grows in and all sorts of things. But I wanted to broaden it. And so they
Mm-hmm.
suggested that I might want to do the Tea Association of Canada course, which at that time they felt was the best course and the most robust and the best to learn on. And so I spent 2 years studying. It was all done online, so that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't realize when I signed up was that all my tutorials would be live somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. And so
Wow.
every week for 2 years, I was awake at 1 in the morning, talking excitedly about tea, tasting tea with people. And then I would go to bed and get back up again a few hours later. So you had to be keen to do it. But I'm
That's right.
currently doing an update on my qualification. I have to do a certain amount of professional development every year. And so I'm doing 2 units just now on herbal teas, Ayurvedic, and Chinese medicine, and on tisanes and all the health benefits of different herbs and things. So, and spices. And obviously, that's how you and I met, because we were looking
Yeah.
at Indonesian tea, which was great. So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a great thing to learn a little bit more about.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's quite fascinating actually to see the trend of tea because of course tradition tea normally made from tea leaves, but now it's just exploding to so many different things, flower or bark or spices as
That's
you
right.
mentioned. Do you think the trend will continue later on?
I definitely think, I mean, people's interest in it has grown more. Um, going recent in recent years, specialty teas, herbal teas and things like that have grown, where maybe black tea in the UK certainly has been declining, the number of people that would drink tea with milk and sugar in the way that people associate with English people.
Right.
That has declined, but other teas have grown. Specialty teas, green teas, those sorts of things have all grown. And I think that's set to continue. The fact that a lot of people now don't want to drink alcohol means that they're looking for interesting non-alcoholic drinks, mocktails, cocktails. It lends itself so much to being used in all those ways. And coming through coronavirus, people are thinking, okay, what can I do to boost my immunity? What can I do rather than drinking a can of Coke? What can I drink that might add something rather than just quench my thirst? And so there's a lot more. And I definitely think the whole well-being and people living longer means you have to take more responsibility for your health and things. Certainly in our culture, that hasn't been something we've done. And so I think there will be there is a lot more to come, definitely. Very interesting subject.
Yeah, that's fascinating to see it, isn't it? And of course, the trend for more, look after somebody or your own well-being, and I'm sure it's related to trading in terms of new company, new player in the business, because they bring something kind of unique and not available before.
Yes, that's true. And also people are traveling more, so they're seeing more things. So then they want, or we're traveling more, and so they're seeing things, so they want to replicate those or look for other versions. And now we can get, the blue butterfly pea flower teas that you see in Thailand that they use a lot in hotels there for welcome drinks and things. Because the other thing is that maybe in the UK people are drinking less alcohol than they were, but in other countries there was never a culture of alcohol, so sometimes you can just borrow something from another country that's already there. So I think that happens more too. We're much more global.
Yeah, that's also interesting. Of course, these days tea is not only a beverage but part of gastronomy.
Very much.
Which many chefs around the world infuse tea in your cooking. Tell us more about that.
So yeah, you can, if you want a smoky flavor, you can use lapsang. People use dry tea as well to smoke fish and to do things like that. You can add tea directly into cakes and desserts. Obviously, you can soak fruit in tea. There are so many, and I mean, there are loads of matcha products now, with the ground green tea, the leaf ground, to make matcha. And then that's added to a lot of food, both savory and sweet. And also a lot of people put things like that into smoothies, and they use it almost like a supplement rather than like a tea. So there's a huge range within that of how you could use it. And that's what's so nice, that if you ever do tea or food and alcohol pairings, like food and wine, things like that. I did a very interesting pairing in Sri Lanka in February this year with a cheese specialist from Holland, and she was looking at different cheeses with teas, and it was fascinating what teas she paired with them and things. And I think often here we think of tea as something you offer people at the end of a meal, almost like, do you want your bill? Do you want your tea? And I think it needs to come right at the beginning of the meal. What are you going to eat? What would be the best thing to suit that? And there's been a lot more education about how to do that, how to introduce tea the whole way through meals. And I think that's also the effect that you're seeing with chefs, that there has been a lot more. And I know you had been on a training, you'd been invited along to something like that in Jakarta before to see some of the high tea competition or something, to see all the different ways they're encouraging people to use tea in food as well as serving it with it.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, of course, the more we talk about this, because, of course, the tradition of British afternoon tea, English afternoon tea, is always using black tea with milk. Do you think is it will be normal, let's say, if we, of course, serve the tea with whatever tea? Of course, now I can see there's so many trends, but do you think in the future there's no kind of strict rules what kind of tea you can have with
I
English
think
afternoon
so,
tea.
and I also think people look down on people that have milk in their tea. And I mean, funnily enough, it was something that I hadn't done for a long time. My mum drank black tea black without any milk, and so I did the same because that was how we were given it. But people are very snobby about it, as if you don't know what you're doing, or you shouldn't be having a tea like that. But there are so many ways to drink it, like chai with spices in it, with black tea, spices, milk, all these things, and now with oat milk and soy milk and different things. So I think there are different occasions that each of those things are good for. And sometimes, in the winter, if you want a really warming drink, then a nice milky chai is a lovely thing, or even iced chai is a beautiful thing. So as you know from speaking to me before, I just love spice, so I would put spice in everything.
That's right.
From my tea right through.
Yeah, it was so lovely. Of course, you joined one of my event when you tried Indonesian tea. Well, we call it maybe not necessary tea, but wedang uwu and wedang jahe, those kind of things. Of course, you tried before. Do you think? Have you found anything like that in the market in the UK?
The wedang uwu was the one that I loved, really loved, and because of the sapang bark and the beautiful color that had and the flavor that gave it to. And I know I asked you then, is this something that we can get easily here? And you said not really, and we've not seen it. But I think it's that thing, because people are curious, and a lot of people now understand a little more about Indonesian food. And are learning more. And I mean, I was watching you with Sri last week and discovered that tempeh, which I thought was a Japanese thing, was actually an Indonesian food. So, and it's great how you can learn things like that. And I think then, as interest in the cuisine grows, people will want the drinks and things. So I think if there were kits that made it possible or easy for people to do that, then I definitely think they would.
That's fantastic. And the nice things, of course, in the UK, people is so welcome with new things, related to food and beverages, of course. And
particularly in London too. Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very trendy, isn't it? In London, it's like whatever culture of
it's a
food
real
you can
mix
find.
Of pot, and that's what makes it an exciting place to live. That you can almost, if there's something that you would like to know more about, you can nearly always find somebody that would make it, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Before we doing something related to food, I want to ask what your favorite spice.
So there are a few, and funnily enough, they're all probably from your part of the world. So I love nutmeg, and with you last year, I tasted nutmeg fruit for the first time. I'd never had the fruit; I'd only ever had the seed from inside it. So that was lovely. I love cinnamon, and I use it in sweet and savory things. And I was interested hearing you talk last week to Sri about when you use it just for the aroma and when you use it for flavor as well. And I use it a lot to naturally sweeten things too, so that I don't have to add sugars and things to them. And then I love clove as well. So I think those are probably my most favorite ones. But I mean, I love chilies and different things and smoked things.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty open. But funny enough, nutmeg would be one. So hot milk with nutmeg on it would be a comforting drink. I love anything that has a lot of nutmeg in it. Potato dishes and things with nutmeg. And so nutmeg is probably one of my favorite spices.
Wonderful. That's interesting. I know you want me. Actually, you mentioned you like salad, especially something like gado-gado, right?
Yes.
But today I'm going to make you something similar to gado-gado, but it's not gado-gado, although it looks the same. Actually, it's called Karedok.
Yes.
And Karedok is traditionally, or no, not traditionally, but it's come from West Java.
Right.
Because in West Java, they like to eat a lot of raw vegetables.
Yes.
And it just struck me actually yesterday, because there's one spice very distinctive, and it's important to make this karedok. And also actually it's important to make one drink, of course, it's part of jamu. Yes. And I think it's good for tea as well.
Yes.
We call it, what is it we call it? We call it beras kencur. Beras kencur actually is like a rice milk with this spice. And I have in my freezer and it's frozen. I know it's look like ginger, but it's not ginger. It's called kencur. Actually, of course, it's still in ginger family.
Yes.
And actually in English, I think they call it sand ginger.
Right.
But the aroma is so amazing. I wish you really hear actually, because it's so powerful. It's more than ginger. The aroma is truly sand ginger is more.
And fresh, citrusy, or how would you describe?
Actually, it's very aromatic. It's like could be like floral or elegant spice, but it's something. It's very difficult to explain. Really, it's like the smell of let's say like truffle. That kind of smell.
Yes.
It's like you just have to. Yeah, I don't know. It's like truffle, basically like truffle. I know, but it's not as truffle. Of course, ginger. You cannot really smell ginger. You taste it, but you cannot really smell it, right? So I know because I want to make you salad, but I make this rice milk with the sand ginger, with little bit ginger and turmeric. But normally, of course, there's no turmeric. Normally, it's very white because it's. But it's very easy to make. Basically, you soak rice and you blend and you just mix with the spices.
And the fact that you have that spice in your freezer, does that mean you brought it from somewhere else or that you buy it in the UK?
No, I brought it from Jakarta last October when I was there. And it's so fascinating because before lockdown, I had conversation with the supplier. The demand of this and ginger in London is so huge. So there's, of course, the British supplier, but normally he brought a lot of things from Thailand. And he just asked if we have sand ginger in Indonesia. And I said, yes, actually it's very common in Bali cooking. And of course in Sundanese cooking, which is in West Sumatra. Sorry, West Java, not Sumatra. West Java.
Lovely.
Right. So, I really wish I can share with you this
I know,
this sand ginger.
Smell it now,
Yeah. So I'm going to make you very simple salad. As I said, basically everything raw. But to make this raw salad delicious, of course, is the dressing or the sauce, which similar to gado-gado, but a little bit different because in gado-gado you don't use this, and of course in this karedok we use aromatic ginger and chili and peanut sauce. But today I'm not using peanut. Instead, I use cashew because I find cashew actually is very creamy. It's more flavorsome compared than peanut. But of course, you can use a peanut or cashew.
It does have a creamier texture, doesn't it, cashew?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Creamier and kind of tastier, really. Yeah. So basically, what I did already, I just put the roasted cashew in the blender, and of course, we have like cashew paste. And I said before, you can really use peanut butter if you want to make this.
If you made that paste, would you keep that in your fridge once you've made a batch of that paste? Would you keep it in your fridge?
Yeah, you can keep this for 2-3 weeks, I think, easily. But of course, this is still pure, natural. There's no chili or anything in there. So what I'm going to do, I just want to mix around 2 tablespoons of the paste in this bowl. Yeah, actually, I just want to see here. There's no question yet, but I think there's a lot of people join us from Jakarta. A lot of people from Jakarta. Because my followers, I think, from Jakarta. Yeah, it's dinner time in Jakarta, of course. So, interestingly, of course, like any other salad, it's very important you have acidity, you have kind of spiciness. Of course, in Europe, mustard is a must in most salad. I mean, like most salad dressing or some salad dressing. And of course, black pepper. But here I'm using chili to give spiciness. So I have a fresh chili from my garden. I know I have I just tried actually to grow chili for this summer. So I will use 2 of these. And then I just chop really finely. So yeah, so the spiciness will come from chili, and then the tanginess will come from lime juice. Of course, you can replace with lemon juice if you like. Yeah, and there's no garlic. Of course, in gado-gado sauce, you have garlic. So this one I just need to make more fine. And I think
so all the seeds and everything going in there.
Yeah, I put the seed because I think 2 is not that spicy. I mean, like it's elegant spicy, not like crazy spicy. But of course, if you're concerned about the spicy flavor, it's just good to just use the, to remove the chili, the seeds.
We have a lady's name has just popped up on the screen, and she says that she is in Austria. So we have somebody from Austria as well as the UK and Jakarta.
That's right. Thank you very much for joining us. I have to screen because I can see bigger this question, but yeah, so that's why I can see that sometimes. But anyway, so and for the contour, which is the I just need to use a grater. So micro grater, which is I think is very fine, which is nice.
I don't know what I would do without microplanes. You get one of the first
things,
I worked with an American chef for a day once, and she asked me, "Do you have a microplane zester?" Or she asked, "Do you have a zester?" And I brought out, the thing we used to have with the 3 or 4 holes in it that makes strips nearly. And she said, the microplane one was so much better. And so she sent me one, and I've had it for years, but I would be lost without it because it's so good for that kind of fine.
Exactly.
Great.
So for the acidity, I will put like 1.5 lime. So we just, but it's very nice, isn't it? In cooking, you just make it and taste along and try to find the right balance. And of course, in Southeast Asia, cooking is always important to have kind of acidity, sweetness a little bit, and spiciness, and kind of umami. But this is, in gado-gado, of course, for the umami, normally we add a little bit of terasi or shrimp paste, but this is really good for vegetarian because all is plant-based. I will use my whisk because it's very thick.
If you were doing this and not on camera, would you blend it or?
Blend. The thing is, of course, the equipment is really help to speed everything, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So put in the blender is perfect if you have But I know with whisk it'll be fine, but always actually take time.
Yeah, but it looks good.
Yeah. So I just need to put a little bit more water again. It's just nice to have the consistency like cream. So it's just it's feel light rather than kind of
too heavy.
Right. Yeah.
That looks lovely.
Right. So I think I just need to season with salt. Yeah. And we can give a try. I think just a touch of more water.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll definitely be trying this one. This looks good.
Yeah. The thing is, of course, if you don't have the sand ginger, with ginger will be lovely. So ginger and chili and lime always perfect combination. Right. So I just need to try. Really nice. Really nice. I just, the spiciness is there actually. The sourness and then the hints of the sand ginger. So it's really, really nice. It's also interesting, of course, in gado-gado, you don't add basil,
No.
But in these, you put basil, so the layer of flavor is totally different than gado-gado. So.
And what kind of basil, if you were in Jakarta, what kind of basil would you use?
Of course, in Jakarta, we have a lemon basil Indonesian style, but I couldn't find here.
No.
So I always just use Italian
basil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's which is of course easy to find, and I think the fragrance, the aroma, the taste is really nice. Yeah, I really like Italian basil. So okay, next I'm going to get my different vegetables just to show, and then we can do the plating. I have different vegetables.
Asking you a question. They're asking, can you find kenker in London?
No. Hi, Janet. How are you? We cannot find. No, actually, we can from a special supplier, but in the shop we cannot. I know it's really nice to have kencur in London, but I mentioned earlier to Jane. Actually, I have in my freezer. So
yes.
I have in my, so yeah, this is frozen, and it still look good. But of course, frozen kencur is, you know, when you freeze everything, it's become kind of soggy, like soft rather than firm. But the taste is still really there. So right.
Lauren is asking, what tea am I drinking? I have made kombucha with, I'm trying to think which one this is, with black tea. And I actually have another lot brewing just now, because this is perfect weather for making kombucha, you know, with the yeast starter, the SCOBY, and the tea and the sugar. And normally in the winter when I make it, I have to use a heat pad. But at the moment, because of the temperature, I can make it in just under a week without having to heat it or anything. So this is a black tea kombucha that took about 10 days during the wet week that we were having. And I've diluted it down just with some sparkling water, because it's quite a strong one. So
yeah. How lovely you make your own kombucha. We can talk about kombucha maybe next time.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So basically, I have different vegetables here. I have a mixed baby salad, baby leaves here. So it's just nice to put all together like that. I really like colors on my food, so I always to put a lot of colors. So this is a fresh corn.
Oh, lovely.
And so I think it's nice, of course, to find different texture, colors.
And fresh corn is so different. It's like fresh peas. It's a very different taste from anything that's been frozen or cooked, so it's perfect to get it while you can fresh and use it.
Exactly, especially this season, summer season.
Yes.
So basically, nice to have colors, and I think I will put a little bit tomato, just again cherry tomato. Yeah, right. It's just lovely to have more, and I will have a yellow paprika. I think it's really nice to have something.
And is it very prescriptive, the vegetables that you would always put in, or do you just vary it seasonally and whatever you have?
Yeah, the thing is, of course, these all vegetables is not Indonesian vegetables.
No.
I mean, or Asia vegetables. I really like or try to cook Indonesian food with all the spices, but if possible, everything, the vegetables or fruit,
local,
as much as possible, local.
Yeah.
I know it's impossible to cook Indonesian food without the spices, right? Lemongrass or the ginger, but it's amazing. We have a lot of chilies in the UK, right? Right now, I mean, like locally grown chili. So
a lot more now.
Yeah. So I know this is not the common vegetables to have karedok. Yeah, but I think it's I don't know. It's I don't mind really. I don't mind not having all the Asia vegetables, but the flavors still remind me of kind of Indonesia.
A lot of the flavor of it comes from the sauce, doesn't it? The dressing.
Yeah, the sauce is still very authentic. So right. So this is And also, of course, the basil. I know it's so rare to find Indonesian salad with basil. So, but I think this is really, really, really nice. And I really like basil. So I just actually thrown this around. And we just sprinkle the sauce, or not sprinkle, actually, like drizzle the sauce
lovely
on the top like this. And I think it'll be amazing salad. I know in gado-gado is so nice because you can have a potato, you can have tofu tempeh. Anyway, I really hope you can enjoy this salad, but
it does look beautiful. Really lovely. If you were making it, how long before you serve it would you add the dressing?
Oh, it's better you serve, let's say, just few minutes before the serve, you drizzle the dressing, because like any other sauce or anything, if you put earlier, it becomes soggy, and the freshness, you don't see the freshness of the vegetables.
The textures.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much for showing me that. That's definitely going to become a new favorite, I can tell, because it just looks beautiful. Really nice.
But of course, as I said, I put the element of the gado-gado with, of course, normally Karedok, you don't have the the baby potatoes and then the Chinese salad. Yes, it's just all vegetables.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely to see you again too, and to have this chat. But that's lovely. Thank you for inviting me and for giving me the choice of what we would cook. That's been super.
Yeah, my pleasure. And then enjoy the rest of the day with amazing tropical weather.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right? Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye for now, Jane. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.